And,
They're slow to come on.
They are slow to come on.
Silver Fiji, that's it, Queensland. Where is Bowraville? That's it, Queensland. Queensland's everywhere.
$30 off for 6 months with Mate Internet. Morning, boys.
Morning, boys. Welcome to the dojo. How are we this morning?
The dojo.
We're good. We're doing a bit of wrestling.
Yeah,
Brandy, you must be very proud, mate, of your young Panthers.
That was a good win. Well,
Yeah.
I think they had a shocker against Newcastle a few weeks back when the Origin players weren't available. Yeah. And I think that same group went across there with right intention, and it was, I thought, one of their best wins this season, without doubt. And it keeps, well, they're in the 8.
Well, we've gone power
in the
rankings.
8.
Heels and Coz, buy into this. We've had our power rankings this morning on, just from the weekend in isolation, best coaching performance. Cleary makes an early call, leaves out all 5 Origin players, prepares the side, and they come up with a great win in front of a full house. Throw in Adam O'Brien, credits where it's due. Red Hot Dolphins comes up with a win. Throw in Ricky Stewart coaching his son, the distraction at that moment. And Jason Riles, with no Mitchell Moses, no Dylan Brown, Parramatta, put 36 on the board. Power rankings. Try and rank those 4 coaching performances.
That's a good one. That is a good one. I mean, the Panthers for mine, going over there, getting the job done. Did Todd Payton get a mention? No?
What for achievement? What are you talking about? Well, poor old Todd. I mean, he's in
where's he? What's Todd say to that group of players?
One of the worst things I have ever seen done on a cricket field.
Yes, not sure, Brandy. Not sure what is spoken about there. What about Desi? Is he up in the mention also?
Well, that's the opposite power rank. We're talking about coaching.
Yeah, we were talking about the good
of the
things.
good.
I was being a little facetious, boys. Look, I think that Ricky and what he's doing at the Raiders has been pretty special, to be fair. 16-0 at half-time to the Raiders. They get the job done and once again just march on. But it was a special moment. I mean, emotion takes over. I've never had to do it, but there's been a number of coaches who have done it. But that would have been a special one for Rick, particularly for his young fella scoring also in the first half.
They're all great. They're all very powerful weekends for those coaches. Trent Robinson had a great time too.
Yes, true.
So too Darius Boyd.
Darius Boyd, coaching the 19s.
That's right.
Yeah,
I remember that, boys. Okay. That was you two boys. You actually you actually called that game.
I called it.
Yes, and alongside
I'll tell you
6-0 Voss next year.
New South Wales are going to win this year's State of Origin Series 3-0 in both men's and women's.
Right. Thank you.
Wow.
And they were looking good. The Blues had all the.
I admire you going the early crow, Andrew.
Well, I'm actually looking
early.
at buying a bottle shop in Queensland now to fund a habit
Get
of
an
losing
off-premise.
bets, and I need to be able to
the wine.
buy it
That's
wholesale.
right.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of trouble
your
there.
mind.
I'd forgotten
Up
about
to
the wine.
8 bottles.
Anyway, in
Brandy.
the AFL, the Giants looking good after a win over the Gold Coast.
They are.
It was a solid performance, but we're not talking about that. Okay. Now, back to another one we had on the hot topic.
Yes.
Today, under pressure. You watched Brisbane and Cronulla yesterday. Now, it's not a Nico Hynes poll on, but you got to talk about it. You got to talk about Nico Hynes under pressure. They're now playing Melbourne next week, Cronulla. They're playing Melbourne Melbourne.
They did beat Melbourne a month ago.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But yesterday, game on the line. The two halves have got to be thrown in. You've got to throw Trindle in as well.
Yes.
They were going well. They were going well yesterday.
Really
they were both going well.
Yeah.
And then, but when it really mattered, they didn't go so well.
No, that's right.
What do you do?
Well, they can't do anything. They can't all of a sudden, unless they put Atkinson in that spot. But I'm with you. I mean, I just touched on it briefly with Heels before about the Sharks and Nico. I mean, Trindle kicked one out on the full at a real crucial time. Nico failed to,
Kick one dead, dropped the ball. It was a bad final sort of 20 minutes.
But this is not a conversation that's just popped up. This conversation continually pops up with big games, and I don't know what the answer is there, Andrew, because they've signed him for long term, have they not? It was a 7-year deal a couple of years ago. So they've got Nico Hynes as their 7 for a period of time, and in doing so, they've lost Atkinson, who's off next year also.
It's gone way past football. It's a confidence issue with him. He's very tentative and he's not willing to do much in case he makes a mistake.
And then if you look back to last year, I mean, Trindle was the man through the semi-final series too, right? I'm not so sure. What's been the chat?
Well, I mean, still, it doesn't go away that people say, Nico, just try Nico at fullback. Now, I don't know what that does to Will Kennedy.
Oh, boy.
But if you are reaching a decision, Cronulla, saying, well, the best we've got around these three is thereabouts. But to take the next step, do they have to rejig what they have?
Right.
Now, does that mean Kennedy becomes the 14 to 17? Now, is it worth a try, boys? I don't know. It'd be a radical move.
Yeah.
But you're going Atkinson, Trindle, Hynes at 1, Kennedy's your 14 to 17.
I suppose on the flip, if that did happen, what is that saying to Nico and the team? And what sort of effect is that going to have, the ripple effect within the group if that is the case?
Well, it should be said to the team. Well, he's struggling.
I understand
and get it out in the open. He's struggling. We're going to try to find some confidence for him somehow.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that has the adverse effect.
If that's got the adverse effect, you've got to go, mate.
I don't think they can afford to change it.
No.
I don't think they can afford to change it.
Yeah, I think
you have to
I'm
just
with
keep
you,
going
Brandy.
you have to keep going. Well, and Dan Atkinson, he won't be there next year.
No.
Like, there's no point throwing him in now for the final 9 rounds of the season to see if he can rescue something.
I tend to agree. Our hot topic question this morning, boys, was off the back of, we've heard from Dave Donaghy over the weekend. Selwyn Cobbo, he won't be part of the Broncos moving forward, and
that seems pretty obvious now, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
With half the money he's on now being offered to him to stay.
Yeah.
But my thought on it really is, Corey, do you get to a point? Now, I guess this is why the offer of 300's been made. You get to a point where you go, you know what? Do we really know how Selwyn's... Is he going to have a go this afternoon when he gets out there?
Yeah.
I know he's I've loved watching Selwyn Cobbo. I love him because he's big and he's... But how do you know what you're going to get with him?
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. He's 23 years of age, played 80 games, 6 for Queensland and 1 for Australia at 23. The 300,000 that is... apparently offered, that won't get rubber stamped by the NRL, you would have thought anyway, and he won't stay.
He's playing Queensland Cup.
Yeah. And he won't stay for 300. So I suppose the question is, where does he go
who wants him the most?
And who wants him? But I think, there's an opportunity to potentially link up with Mal over in Perth, but that'd mean he'd have to play somewhere else for 1 year.
Yeah, I'm not buying that 1 year. I tell you, I wouldn't sign him for one season as a transit lounge. No. Hey boys, now here's a big one from this morning.
Yes.
Alex Johnston scored 4 tries in a beaten side.
Yes.
Okay, on Saturday. He's now 4 away from equaling, a record that you thought may never be broken. He's untouchable. Ken Irvine.
Yep.
As it said on the text, Alex Johnston has 206 tries in 234 games. Ken Irvine scored 212 in 238.
Yeah.
How poetic would it be for him to even the record in his 238th game? If he stays fit, these are his coming games: Dolphins, Seagulls, Panthers and Sharks. Now, what are we going to do? I'm saying we are now on notice. The fact that he can score 4 in one hit, have you got any ideas, boys, what we should do to mark the moment? Because you can't let it go. You can't say, we'll deal with it next week. If he's suddenly out of the blue, let's say he's 4 away from the record and then goes bang, 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 the night that he equals it, the night that he breaks it, take your pick. But he might do it in multiples. We've got to be ready. What do we do? Do you stop the game? What you got any thoughts there?
I haven't have thought that much about it. I think he probably needs to share the name with Ken Irvine, with the Irvine Johnston medal, I guess. And
but the actual moment, would you see, is rugby league a game? We'll bring Charlie in the conversation. Let's have a fifth voice. When LeBron James became the highest scorer in the NBA, what did they do? They went way over the top, did they not?
They absolutely stopped the game. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was actually in attendance, and there was Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, was there as well. They had this ceremony of the passing of the torch from Kareem to LeBron James. Completely stopped the game midway through the third quarter. I reckon it would work better in the NRL because once a try is scored, there's obviously a break in play with the conversion, teams getting back, the bunker obviously checking the try. Yep. I think it makes sense for the game to be stopped at least somewhat. You can have Andrew Abdo, Peter V'landys get on the field.
What do we do, Corey? Pitch invasion?
I don't know if we do that.
Yeah, Buddy Franklin, when he kicked his 1,000th goal, there was a pitch invasion. Pitch
invasion. Do we allow that?
I think you're right. Now that I've thought about it a bit more, probably something needs to happen. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think an immortal or two need to be out there to pat him on the back.
Heels, that's a great one. But that means you've got to have that immortal on standby.
Yeah,
he's got to go to a month. He might have to go for 6 weeks of football.
That's right.
That's a great idea. I don't mind that. Mal Meninga in attendance, someone like Mal, to present
Joey
the moment, or Joey, but I'd...
Or someone who's close, as close as you can get. The immortal, that was as close.
I'm sure Joey would love to be on standby.
Well, with respect to Peter V'landys and Andrew Abdo, I think that carries a little more gravitas. Having an immortal, Heels, I think you're onto something.
Yeah, there you go. We can solve all problems here. What about this problem that may pop its head up? Nathan Cleary in this ongoing, groin injury, if it call it that for whatever better word. If he's unable to play in Game 3 for New South Wales, who goes as number 7?
Don't know. He'll be right.
As if Corey
He'll
cares.
be fit.
As if Corey
cares. That's right. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, we were talking around it
Katoa.
before. Well, Katoa's, he's like, I've got him as an absolute superstar, Katoa, and I wouldn't have, but then I thought, oh boy, it's a decider. Do you put a young kid on debut and a decider? So I thought along the lines of maybe someone like an Adam Reynolds could go into the number 7 and, just steer the team around and do what he needs to do and let everyone else express themselves the way that they do.
Not ridiculous, I suppose.
Not a bad thought. Yeah, not a bad thought. He'll be fit, but Cleary will be fit, so don't worry about it. Forget it.
Boys, is there anything to achieve? Is there anything to achieve by the Blues meeting with the NRL management over the referee?
Oh, yeah, it's plant the seed. That's what they do. They'll plant the seed this week.
Let me tell you, I've been to a meeting where you sit down with the referees. It's pointless.
Yep.
Don't even bother. Don't bother organising a meeting. Nothing will come of it.
Let's go down that part. What does a meeting look like? What do you look for? You say, how perfect were Queensland in the first half?
No, you take a whole lot of video evidence and go, here,
please
have
explain.
a look at this. Yeah, why? Why is this happening? There always seems to be an explanation for it. Not one that you're happy with, but you sit there and go, oh, yeah, no, that's cap. That's cap, but we'll just move on anyway.
Yeah, fellas, on the text line, Robbo the Mad Tiger here, he says, lads, if you think there's not going to be a pitch invasion when AJ breaks the record, you're not thinking clearly.
Righto.
They're already gathering troops for it on social media, so it might even be not organised, but it's just going to happen. It's going to organically happen.
So the NRL better get on top of it early.
The memo better go to the security guards, not poleaxe people running on the field.
What about a guard of honour, a crowd guard of honour all around the field? He's got to do an extra lap. And he runs through it all the way around. Meets an immortal
this morning.
At the end.
And Billy Slater should be the one to award Alex with the award, as he is the highest living try scorer on the list.
Nice.
You can have Beaver and Billy Slater. Beaver and Billy Slater may be there, but you've got to have them on standby for weeks. Anyway, boys, we're trying to solve the world's problems. We've had a bit of a crack at it. And we do that for Mate, $30 off for 6 months with Mate Internet. Use promo code MATE30 at checkout. Wine's on its way.
Oh, please.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks, Vossy.
What a load.
See you, boys.
See ya. Okay. Hey, some interesting results over the course of the weekend. The Broncos getting a victory over the Cronulla Sharks, 34 points to 28, come from behind in front of 39,000 at Suncorp. Walshy was instrumental at the back end there, had a clean line break and ended up setting up a try. That was a real clutch play.
Oh, how good was his speed? I don't think he's had that. I think that helped his confidence.
I enjoyed his want and intent to actually go after that area of the game. Yes. It was a real pivotal point, and he went after it. Yeah. He's probably hampered a little bit with the speed, with the PCL injury, but they got the job done.
But he still broke that tackle, so he's still fast enough.
Yes.
And that would have given him a bit of confidence, I reckon.
Correct.
And let's not gloss over the crowd. They were going off, weren't they? For the whole match.
They found their voice
late. They were
going off. Absolutely were. So there was plenty to like about the Broncos come from behind. And off the back of a bye, sometimes you do start a little bit clunky and a little bit out of sync. And they were certainly in that space, I suppose, in the first half. But they were able to get the job. The big talking point is our friends down on the Gold Coast Heels.
Desi sort of doesn't think, that he's in trouble?
Well, There's been some talk around Desi that there's whispers he'll be walking at the end of the year.
Yeah,
and he was
whispers.
asked this question as well.
There's been some talk, Des, that at the end of the year, there's been some whispers around the traps that you might walk away anyway, regardless of what happens. Can you talk to that?
No, they're just whispers, mate. It's just rumour in your window.
Sounds like he's heard it, though.
Absolutely.
What
would have
about
heard it.
saying, I haven't heard anything like that, and I'm loving what I'm doing, and or is he working for Tottenham Hotspurs?
Well, there's also reports that he's under pressure at the Titans too.
I don't know if there's the speculation. It's been reported, but obviously, sitting in last plot, is a position that we don't want to be in. We thought coming in like this, it's very tight there at the bottom. In those sides, it's pretty congested. That's why tonight's game was so important for us, and I thought we were in it. We had a good chance of playing it, and we can only keep trying and keep working at it.
Yeah, well, he expected a better performance, and he spoke about it.
Off the back of a bit of momentum from last week, I expected a better performance than what we showed tonight. But particularly in the first half, we showed some. We scored first, and obviously the tries they scored and the sort of tries they scored, out to 18-6, got fought back to 18-12, 18-16 half-time. Straight after half-time, 24-16, fought back to 24-20.
Okay. So let's try and boil this down. Look, I like Des Hasler. I do. But Heals, I'm sorry, the experiment, the case state, whatever it is, it's not working. And it hasn't worked at the Gold Coast. Justin Holbrook was sacked, and he was sitting 9th in the competition at that point in time, with a host of wins under his belt and a tight comp as it was going. The Gold Coast Titans at the moment are a basket case, and that is being nice. And I understand. Look, last week they play the Manly Seagulls. DCE gets dropped. Tom Travojevic is back into the side. You sort of think, oh boy, the Manly Seagulls are going to get a victory here, right? From a tipster's point of view. The Titans come out and dust them. So, okay, you go into this game. You go off the back of a bit of confidence. They get their origin play. They have six origin players and a test player. Now, the origin players, Brimson played origin before. RCG played origin before. Fermor, current origin player. Tino, current origin player. Mo Fodawaker, current origin player. Philip Sami played origin before.
Yeah.
Kieran Foran, test player. Now, that's 7 all up in terms of their quality. Yes, they lost their halfback. Okay, but they go down there and they take on Parramatta Eels, who are without their halfback, Mitch Moses, who are without Dylan Brown, and they do not even look like it. They just don't look. And, one of the great throwaway lines from a coach's point of view is, when they go, we just had far too many handling errors and, it really cost us. So you go, okay, I'll buy that if it's true. But for me, Heels, the handling errors, they completed at 84%. That's exceptional in the modern day. So in the first half, they had 2 errors. In the second half, they had 3 errors. They were very, very good with their error rate. So here's a team that, they do play east-west and they throw the ball around from coast to coast, etc.
Yep.
They are miles off at the moment and they are anchored to the bottom of the table. Like they at this point, sit 17th in the competition. And they've had, I banged on earlier, they've had 2 buys.
1 to go.
So they've got 1 more to go. So the question here is, Des Hasler, when asked about, is he hearing whispers? Oh, boy, the drums. And we heard from the board just not so long ago saying, his job's safe. Now, normally when that happens, you're under enormous amounts of pressure and you're out the door. The Gold Coast Titans fans must be fed up with the noise, fed up with the jargon and the chat that is coming out of the Gold Coast Titans. I retract back. I go back. I like Des Hasler, but that scenario completely not working. Now, the roster, could probably do with a little overhaul from different points. There could be a few different things that are unfolding there, but at the minute, they are in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I want to see a bit of grit. That's what their fans must want to see. Now, get rid of this east-west. Someone come up on the inside. Stop your injuries. All struggling teams get injuries. The Titans get a lot of injuries. Some of their best players miss long periods off. I'm not so sure that it's totally Des. But this backline should be able to start getting themselves together.
Wait, hang on. What do you mean you're not so sure it's Des Hasler was brought to the club to change what has been one of their downfalls, that being the resilience and their ability to stay in the fight and compete for long periods of time, etc. He was brought to the club to do that. They are sitting 17th in the... I just read 7 rep players in that team. 7.
How those 7 can't create a better environment on the field, I'm surprised.
Well, this is the whole situation. I mean, there's a text comes
through
here.
Their roster is unbalanced.
Text come here through 717. Des was never going to be the answer. The culture and attitude of the playing group is what the real issue is. I've been saying it for years now. They need to look into the recruitment and what they are trying to build. They need to give Jimmy Lenihan, which has had enormous amounts of support from a lot of people, a shot at head coach. I got to see it firsthand at Burleigh, what Jimmy could do with the playing group and building culture. So there you go. On that 13-13-55 open line, Braden, good morning, mate.
Morning, boys. How you going?
Yeah, going well.
Thanks, Braden. Has the weather subsided there in Perth?
A little bit, mate. A little bit. It's not too bad today. Could have held up Saturday afternoon for me, so I didn't get drenched at the Dolphins game, but it is what it is.
Righto. So the Titans, mate, where are you placing the fingers at the moment?
Well, boys, I just can't work it out. I've been a member 18 years, right?
Yes.
I've supported them through thick and thin, and when times get tough, we sack the coach, we go backwards. We sack the coach, we go backwards. We had Neil Henry, sack the coach. Bring in Garth Brennan, sack the coach. Bring in Justin Holbrook. The only one that I feel actually unlocked David Fafita. Fafita wanted to be there, and when he was playing under Holbrook, he was unstoppable. Playing Origin, it was phenomenal. We get Des Hasler comes up, we sack Holbrook to bring him in. We leave Jimmy Lenihan coach for that period of time, bring Desi in. Been there 2 years now. Where's it gone? It's gone nowhere. We've gone nowhere. And I'll tell you what, boys, if they lose Tino, the club's gone. For him to want to walk away, he's got the clause in his contract to do it. So if he was to walk away from the Titans, they'll be gone.
Yeah.
And do they have some cap space?
Pardon?
Do they have some cap space to purchase?
Well, I'm not too sure what the Bears, like for the Bears, if they were to look at Tino to bring Tino across, I'm not sure what it's like, boys. Yeah. But I just don't understand. We've got Regan Campbell-Gillard. He should be producing something. It's either like we produce people for the NRL or we use the Titans as a retirement home.
Yeah.
When we signed Kieran Foran, I was filthy at the fact that his age would bring someone of his age to the club, and he's actually proved me wrong. He's actually, last week was the best game he's ever played, but we've had Regan Campbell-Gillard up there, and he's done nothing.
Yeah, no, it's
frustrating, boys. It's so frustrating to try and stay loyal, and then we sack the coach.
Well,
we can't sack Des Hasler and go back to a rookie coach, boys, because then we now go backwards again.
Well, that's not. Yeah. Okay. It appears that the writing's on the wall for Des Hasler. You would suggest. I mean,
you've gone from whispers and scuttlebutt to now it's on the wall.
They're sitting dead motherless last.
Not on the wall yet.
What do you mean? So who would they go to next, mate? Who are some of the options? I mean, you look at the recruitment and
nothing there, boys.
Yeah, well, you look at the recruitment and retention, for example. Toby Sexton wasn't good enough, and he's going okay.
Good pedigree.
Jamal Fogarty wasn't good enough. He's going okay.
Tanner
Boyd's another one. He's injured at the moment, but I mean that's I suppose for the Gold Coast Titans. I mean, you just touched on Tino and. Heels asked you the question about is there any money? The answer to that is no, because it looks as though they're going to lose Jamin Jolliffe to the Cowboys, it appears, because they can't offer him a decent enough deal to stay around.
Okay.
So he's got a bit of upside to him as well, Jamin Jolliffe. But, mate, Braden, you make a great point. It must be frustrating from a fan's perspective to hear the same old jargon being spoken about.
It is, Coz. It is. It's so frustrating. And like I say, I live over here in the West, mate, and I've been a loyal member for 18 years. And this just seems to be every 3 to 4 years. Oh, we'll just get rid of the coach. We'll get someone else. We'll get rid of the coach. When the Titans come here for the Nines, I actually sat down with Justin Holbrook, Michael Gordon, and Bryce Cartwright, and I sat with Holbrook for about an hour, boys, and had a general conversation. And that was the first time I've ever met a Titans coach that I went, wow, like, okay, I can see where he wants our club to go and build. And everybody bought in for him, boys. Like I say, Dave Fafita was unstoppable. They bring Desi in, and look at what he's done. He's just turned his nose up at it because he doesn't want to be there and play for him. Yeah. It's the writing's on the wall. It's as simple as that.
Well, just to answer your question there before, Kevin Walters, Jeremy Lenahan, Jason Demetrio, Josh Hannay, there's a lot of coaches in and around. That's just here sort of in the NRL. So, look, Desi's still the head coach at the moment, mate, and you can only assume that the noise will continually get louder and louder the more they stay anchored on the bottom of the ladder.
Thanks, Braden.
Thank you very much for your call,
early
mate.
Start for you. And JJ's all over it too. Parker, the Titans need a clean out as soon as Des Hasler's not worked, and their salary cap is awful. They've got 3 fullbacks on their books, no halfback.
Yeah, it's definitely a concern. I mean, I just mentioned, I was surprised by the Regan Campbell-Gillard signing last year, to be honest.
You know, the first thing I noticed about him, he made a bit of a break yesterday. I noticed, geez, he's got a nice suntan. His legs were brown. He's having a great time on the coast.
Look, I mean, watch this space. It's going to unfold, and I can only assume it's going to continually get hotter in the frying pan that is down there on the M1. Well, yes, why run it straight? I don't want to sort of bang on too long about it all, Heels, but I need to say it because it's such a fallacy. It is so bad, and there's been talk about it over recent times, but I just think the NRL need to make change and have a look at the way that the ladder is done. 2 points for a bye. Teams who've had buys or haven't had buys, it just gives you a false look at the table at the moment, okay? And I'll tell you this, the Canberra Raiders are sitting second in the competition. They've played 15 games. They've had 12 wins, okay? Second in the competition. They've had 12 wins, lost 3. The Bulldogs, who are sitting atop of the competition, had 11 wins, okay, and have lost 2. Now, they sit atop of the competition because they've had all 3 buys. The Canberra Raiders have only had 1 bye.
So they put 4 points on that.
So put 4 points on them.
And that's the live ladder, you have to say.
And that's the live ladder.
Call it a live ladder.
They're up to 30 points and sitting atop. They will be hard to beat for a minor premiership, the Canberra Raiders. Still yet to have. So in the top 4, the Bulldogs have had all 3 buys. They're done. The Raiders have had 1 bye, 2 buys up their sleeve. Storm, all 3 buys. They're done. Warriors have had 2 buys. Okay, they're sitting 4th. So out of that, the Raiders are the clear leaders of the competition. But when you look at it, you go, oh, the Raiders come and say, oh, how good are the Bulldogs going? They're sitting on top. They've had 3 buys. They've had 6 points put into them. Then you go a little bit lower. The Sharks, who have gone down to the Broncos on the weekend, sit 6th. They've only had 1 bye. Okay, you keep going down. The Dolphins have only had 1 bye. So
where are they if you put 4 on them?
Well, if you put 4 on the Dolphins, they go to 20 points. That puts them up into 5th.
Right.
Okay? Then you go further down the list, which was a big game for the Newcastle Knights, who sit on 14 points. They've only got 1 bye. So they've got another 4 points. So
18.
if you give, they go up to 18. Currently, they would go to 6th in the competition. It's rubbish. You look at it and you go, oh, hang on a sec. It's too hard for the general punter to look at and go, well,
read through the first 3 columns too of the stats of the game. I don't know what you're looking at there, but normally it's played,
points, wins, drawn, loss.
Yeah, buys are way too far down. They need to be the 3rd column.
So that's my issue, right? And you go all the way down, 16th in the competition at the moment. Uncle Wayne's Rabbitohs. They've only had one bye. It's just too difficult, and it's not a clear indication of how your team is going. So when people look at the draw and just the normal spectator, okay, not the avid rusted-on fan that goes, knows exactly what's going on. When the normal spectator looks at it, and they go, okay, they're flying. Well, hang on a minute, it's not quite vindicative of what's actually going on in the NRL.
Solution?
No points for buys. That's my solution. Why do you have? If you don't play, you don't get a point. Simple. Or start everyone on 6 points. Whatever way you want to do it. But it just doesn't give you a good indication of where people are at because you go, they've got another 4 points coming up their sleeve, yet we haven't seen it. Anyway.
Bring the buy column further up so that you can see it in the first screen.
Just don't get points.
The first screen.
But if you just didn't get points.
I don't mind that. I don't mind you having to look into the ladder a bit. I don't mind that liveness about the ladder.
Really?
But when buy's way over there and you've got to scroll sideways, maybe, I don't mind a bit of thinking.
So for the Raiders fans out there,
they'll be fine.
They're flying.
Other teams, the Raiders fans would love to know they could surprise everyone soon. We have only that. They've
got a great run home too. The Raiders. They've got the Knights twice, the Tigers twice. They've got a lot of winnable. Well, they sit second in the competition.
And the JJ Gilton.
There's no
is
team.
That the big shield now.
Big one. Yeah, there's no team in the competition that has won more games than the Raiders. So you look at it, you go, well, the Raiders have actually had 12 wins. And you go, that's not bad. They've played 15 games. Then you go, the Storm have only played 13 games, as to the Bulldogs. So it's not a true indication of what's going on. So anyway, there you go. That's
okay.
I've got that off
you
my
did
chest.
start to bang on a bit.
Yeah, sorry.
But well done. That's pretty straight running.